You probably think that procrastination is a modern day problem with the invention of the internet or the phone and stuff like that. Well, you'd be kind of right, but not exactly. Let me explain. But before I do that, I want you guys to go down in the comment section and comment how many times you think I actually checked my phone during the process of me planning out this video. So procrastination is not something new. It can actually be traced back to many years. I'm sure most of you know Leonardo da Vinci, or at least you all are familiar with his most famous painting, Mona Lisa. Do you know that in his entire lifetime, he only completed 20 paintings, and the Mona Lisa took him 16 years to complete. Now, I'm not saying that the Mona Lisa is some easy painting and does not require a lot of work and a lot of detailing, but does it really entail for 16 years worth of work? The actual reason why it took him so long was because he used to procrastinate and doodle in his books. And the reason why this procrastination was not looked off in a negative way or even talked about was because these doodlings were actually ahead of his time and innovative. Like, he used to draw design for new bridges, he used to draw mechanical stuff, he used to draw and design helicopters and stuff like that. And the reason why procrastination is perceived as a modern day problem is because now, with the invention of phones and computers and stuff like that, procrastination has become more pronounced and more problematic. Like, all it takes is a single press of a button to open up a world of procrastination opportunities for you. Now the question arises, why do we actually procrastinate? Most of you will think that it's because we're lazy, but that's not exactly the reason. Let's dive a little bit deeper. So we usually procrastinate when you're presented with a task that is either too boring or too hard. Now both of these situations will lead to negative emotions or a negative state of mind. So our body will do anything to avoid these negative situations or these negative emotions. Let's first talk about the hard part. Now, if you find something too hard or you think it's something that you're not going to be able to do easily, then first of all, I need to ask you, are you being realistic or are you just doubting yourself? Like, think about the past. Like, have you done something similar to this and had positive outcomes? And if you've done, then why do you think that it's not something that you're capable of doing? Like, most of the times it's because you're doubting yourself and you're doubting your abilities. So you need to believe in yourself a little bit more. Second of all, it may seem overwhelming because when you look at the entire picture, it's just like too much for you to do. Like, take for example, you have an exam at the end of the month and you have a lot of portion to complete in that month's period. Now, looking at the whole thing, it seems very overwhelming, and then you do not want to actually go and study. Well, what you can do is you can actually break it up into parts and set mini deadlines throughout the month. So you set a mini deadline with a certain amount of portion that you have to complete, and this mini deadlines will create an urgency for you to complete that portion. And keep a little bit of buffer zone, like if something goes wrong or if the time is needed is more, you have that buffer period. But once you complete this task by these mini deadlines and you look at the entire picture, you will be amazed that you completed the entire task in a short period of time, something that you thought was impossible. But because you designed it in a way that it's just mini task, the mini task did not overwhelm you because it was something that you saw as small and doable. So that's why you were able to complete each mini task and overall complete the entire task. So break it down into smaller parts so that seems less overwhelming, and set up deadlines, mini deadlines, so that creates an urgency for you to complete the task. Now, the second most common reason we discussed for leading to procrastination is when you find a task boring. So what you can do in these situations is again break it up into mini chunks, but I'm talking about chunks of 25-30 minutes. So set 25-30 minutes time limit for you to complete a particular task. Now, after you complete the task in that time period, I want you to reward yourself by using your phone, playing video games, whatever you would usually procrastinate with. Like, only if you complete the task, reward yourself with this, and that will rewire your brain. So instead of thinking of this task as something negative, it will actually perceive it as something essential in order to achieve this positive gratification at the end. So this will create a less boring way for you to complete your task, and as you get more skilled and more efficient, you can increase the periods by which you do the work. So like 30 minutes can become 40-50 minutes. Now, talking about this negative and positive aspects, this is an important reason which leads to procrastination. Now, I already told you these two circumstances, that is boring and hard work, is a negative emotion, and your body or your mind will do anything to avoid these negative emotions. So you will procrastinate and go play the video game, use your phone, to get the small amount of dopamine hits that will give you that instant gratification that will be for a short period of time. But let me ask you one thing. Have you ever procrastinated and wasted time and felt good at the end of it? Like honestly, I personally feel terrible. Like I feel totally rotten after it. So you think that by getting the small amount of dopamine hits and this, instant gratification, you're avoiding the negative of doing the task. But actually you're going to be met with a whole lot of negativity at the end, and it's going to be much worse. So this requires some amount of self-awareness and thinking ahead. Like, am I actually going to avoid the negative emotions by, getting these small, quick gratifications, or am I going to be met with a whole lot of negativity at the end? And if you are, is it really going to be worth it? Like, you might as well complete the task and then use your phone or play a video game, whatever it is, guilt-free, and you will be met with a positive experience in both ways. So that's why before you go to procrastinate, just stop and think ahead. The next thing is create barriers between you and what causes you to procrastinate. So if you have your phone at the side of you with it on, notifications on, and you're working, the notifications coming again and again, or just pressing a button and using your phone is going to be so simple that your body and your mind will just say, might as well just check your phone once, and then you'll end up spending hours on it. So what you can do is turn off notifications, switch off your phone, keep it in another room, just create barriers, because your mind is going to start perceiving this procrastination in a negative way. Like if you want to procrastinate every 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to have to actually get up, go to the other room, take your phone, switch it on, wait for it to turn on, and then use it. So your mind will think like, instead of going through all this trouble, I might as well just sit in this chair for 25-30 minutes, complete the task, and then I can go and use the phone guilt-free. So the more number of barriers you create, the less likelihood that you're going to procrastinate. Now in the start of the video, you remember I told you to comment how many times you think I checked my phone while planning this video. Well, just to make things clear, I did not turn off notifications or put my phone on silent or anything like that. I kept it beside me, facing up, while I was doing the work. And something amazing came out of this. You see, initially when I was planning my intro, I checked my phone at least 3 times and probably spent 5 to 10 minutes just browsing and scrolling about on my phone. But as I got into the flow and got more engrossed in the task, like I started checking my phone less. Like my brain, once it kicked into gear and just started moving, it did not want to stop. It obeyed Newton's first law of motion. Like it kept going and did not want to stop. So that's another thing that helps you block procrastination, is when you're in the flow, you will find less and less urges to procrastinate. So only the starting part is actually going to be daunting and stressful for you. But once you start and once you get into the flow, it's going to be much easier for you to avoid distractions. Like towards the end of it, I was not even looking at my phone, even though like notifications were coming and it was buzzing. I did not even feel the urge to even peep at it. I just check out my notifications. Once you're so engrossed, you're just like in the flow state and everything else just disappears. So what I would suggest is it requires some amount of self-discipline to just go and start. So the answer for how many times I actually checked my phone during this process was 5. 3 of it were during the intro and the other 2 were maybe 3/4 of the way in. The last 1/4 I did not even check my phone even once. So the total was 5. I hope you guys found this video informative and entertaining. If you did, then a like to this video would be highly appreciated, and I will see you all next time. Peace.